My camera's a bit blurry, but I'm gonna kind of go with it right now because it looks nice. Okay, that's better. So, my last video was about 5D consciousness, a little bit of like the golden age prophecy and what everything kind of lines up and kind of correlates and adds up to. This video before, I told you guys last week I was going to get into shadow work. I kind of felt like I should cover the simulation theory before I get into shadow work. Just because it kind of explains it a little bit better and kind of elaborates like some of the spirituality stuff. A lot of that simulation talk sounds scary, but it really isn't. And I'll tell you why. This in a TikTok video earlier, kind of going over like psilocybin and explaining like the neural networks and some of the studies behind psilocybin and just, hold up, there's a siren. So I'm just gonna do the rest of this video indoors because I live in Portland and I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the news. It's gonna look weird over here. Anyway, so going back to like psilocybin, some of like the theories and research behind all of that, I was kind of going, like I've talked about this before. I was working on a project here in Oregon where we were trying to legalize therapeutic psilocybin for PTSD, depression, anxiety, cluster headaches, many different things. There's some really great studies. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not gonna tell you guys what to do with your lives. However, there's some really great studies, and I will link all of my resources down here in the description. You guys can do some, research on your end yourself. However, kind of going into like the simulation theory and why I think it kind of coincides with like psychedelic use a little bit. Going to one of these theories, talking about, how psychedelics don't necessarily, they don't induce chemicals within your brain. What they do is amplify the neuroreceptors that are already in your brain. Kind of like how cannabis works with your endocannabinoid system and the receptors and the way that it kind of not necessarily triggers certain receptors and just like puts these receptors inside of your body. That's not necessarily how it works. It's got some more scientific stuff. I'll see if I can little clip right here actually show you a little basic outline of it.
So what does cannabis really do? Everything, actually. So just take that in for a second. But CB1, so cannabinoid 1 receptor, all over the brain. CB2, really mostly glial cells and brainstem. And it affects things all over the body, particularly neurodevelopment, reward systems, might have something to do with your emetic reflex. So that kind of speaks to actually what cannabinoids are approved for. So it's all over the body. What it actually does is an example of retrograde neurotransmission, and that has to do with that backwards transmission that's regulatory function when it comes to neurotransmission. So the endocannabinoid precursors live in the lipid membranes. When neurotransmitter binding triggers this release, then endocannabinoids come on to one of the CB receptors, and that will inhibit the release of the inhibitory and excitatory neurotransmitters. So that's the point of retrograde, and that's really what endocannabinoids do on the receptor. And then the different receptors and ligands, you have 2-AG, the high efficacy agonist, and anandamide, the low efficacy agonist. And the CB2s really mostly live in immune cells, and CB1s are central and peripheral neuron terminals kind of all over the body. So how does this maybe interact when it comes to development? The endocannabinoid system is implicated in neural stem cell survival. It is implicated in proliferation. It is implicated in migration, so telling the cells where to go, as well as neurite outgrowth and direct axonal growth. So the endocannabinoid system is huge when it comes to this like prenatal neurodevelopment. And then finally, the positioning of the cortical interneurons, kind of a critical thing, and we'll see why that matters in a minute. Also, in adolescent development, remember this is the huge pruning time, and during pruning, CB1 receptors are going up and up and up and up and up, and then they kind of fall off when you're an adult. So this may also be a critical point during this adolescent developmental pruning period in the endocannabinoid system, because it regulates glutamate, GABA, synaptic pruning, and white matter development. So what does the cannabis do? Well, look back at all these things that the endocannabinoid system hits, and it might be a problem when it comes to neurodevelopment. It might be a problem with memory and reward. It might treat pain. It might have a positive antiemetic. I think actually that's fairly well established. It may have some problems when it comes to your cardiovascular health. IBS might be a positive thing. Coordination, not so positive. It might improve your appetite. Intraocular pressure is famous, right? Glaucoma. Immune function, maybe. And then it might impair fertility. So think of all these places that the cannabinoids can come in and either cause problems or be a therapeutic.
Now going in and talking about how these neuroreceptors are enhanced through the communication tied along with the psychedelics and just the chemical components, I guess, of natural mushrooms. And I definitely predict there's going to be some really great studies on top of the things that are already coming out of Johns Hopkins University. There's some really great studies there if you want to do some of this research. MAPS. They're your number one resource for all things psychedelics. The reason I mention psychedelics and just the way neuroreceptors are enhanced and make these connections, it's almost similar to the talk of like the simulation realm. That being said, right here in the 3D reality, the 3D density is that of duality. So it takes elements from 2D reality and 5D reality, and that's kind of all embedded in 3D. It's a little complicated. I'll try to keep this as simple as possible. But if you have a basic understanding of what 3D reality is, which is this physical reality, it's what we see, the illusion that we see with our eyes. It's and taking the 5D reality which is an esoteric essence. It's a spirituality essence. It's of love and light and enlightenment. It's a conscious way of being and reacting towards the universe when the universe sends you signs and signals. So kind of going along with like simulation talk and psychedelics, my comparison is pretty much we all have spirit guides here in this 3D reality that we interact with on a daily basis without actually realizing it. Yes, so we subconsciously speak to our spirit guides all the time. And when I say spirit guides, I'm not talking about just, being able to talk to ghosts. That's a completely different thing. When I talk about spirit guides, I'm talking about the souls within our 3D bodies that affect other souls, and our laws of attraction, laws of vibration, and how we interact with other beings in the 3D reality. They each teach us a soul lesson, whether that be a shitty relationship that you were once in, whether that be going through some hardships in life and kind of, having some falling outs in college and meeting some really good friends that have kind of kicked you into the right direction, or just said something that kind of made you go, and thought about things. That's what I'm talking about when I mention spirit guides. And the reason why this is in comparison to psychedelics, my comparison is, it's quite similar. Psychedelics will enhance your communication through your neural networks, and it will enhance that esoteric essence and enhance your unity with the universe, and it's strange connections. We'll talk about that some other video. But going along with like the 3D reality and just with, without any enhancements, any type of psychedelics, just us here in the 3D reality experiencing life as the observer, not the absorber, what we find and realize is our voice, our inner voice, is just a narration of our own thoughts. And we do actually have a lot more power and control over those things. And when we start to take that envisionment of the simulation reality and realize that the matrix is an illusion that we are attached to and doesn't necessarily define who we are inside, it just gives us a better explanation of how things work in this universe and how things work in other universes. Different dimensions and realities. Talk about that some other time. Well, going along with that, you can either learn from these experiences and find the esoteric meaning, even without with subconsciously doing that. You don't even have to acknowledge that, hey, I'm learning something. You just do. It's just a way of being. When you realize that, though, you have a stronger connection with the universe and you're able to kind of tap in with some of these abilities and being able to read the universe and kind of take that to your advantage so you can find the right spiritual path that you want to take, because there are many paths in this reality, and that's why we talk about it as a network. Same with psilocybin. So we learn from each other, we learn from our experiences, and they're enhanced through those connections that we make with other people. My life story and my explanation, my first-hand experience with this would probably be with petitioning for psilocybin here in Portland. So that being the reason I say that is because of the connections I made here in this city. I came here back in like October of last year, 2019, and I, jumped from job to job, trying to keep, my feet above water, or my head above water at least. And so I stumbled. When I tell you I stumbled across this job, the universe handed it to me. That's what happened. I followed my destiny. I followed my path in life. I took risk. And I know it's not necessarily easy for everyone to pick up on these signs, and this is something I'm going to develop some classes on, and how to pick up signs in the universe, and when the universe is knocking on your window, your subconscious window of the soul. I'm going to tell you how to tap into that energy. We'll get into that in some other videos, talk about some basic concepts. But going along with the simulation talk, in my experience, I learned from talking to regular people and not getting face value with regular people through this petitioning job. Because petitioning, I don't know if you've ever had a petitioning job, it's hard work getting people to, it's almost like sales, but without the value you have to build yourself for the people, to show them that what you're talking about is an important issue. And let's talk about it on the streets for a few seconds. That can be really hard to do in a fast-flowing city, I'll tell you what. So with me and my experience, I've talked to all kinds of different people. I talked to street folk, city folk, people that just kind of are drifters, people that have lived in Portland pretty much their whole life, or lived in Oregon their whole life and have some type of experience to share. And I've talked to all kinds of different types. And I made some really great connections with people. I learned about the cluster headaches. I didn't even learn that through petitioning. Well, most of the psilocybin talk that I actually even learned about was through people that I was just talking to on the streets. They taught me things about the cluster headaches and how psilocybin, just microdosing with psilocybin, it enhances your overall way of being, your outlook on life. It just gives you an energy uplift, and a lot of people out here in the North Pacific actually already microdose, and it's very common. So I'm gonna do this 30-day challenge. First one being, I think I might tap in a little bit to the vegan challenge and then do some of the psilocybin challenge maybe along with it. However, just keeping with that simulation talk and how I perceive it to work with the psilocybin mushroom theory as just a kind of metaphor for 3D reality. It's hard to explain. It's easier to conceptualize individually. I guess the best way to explain it really is just seeing those connections and those networks, those neural networks, as both on the 3D plane of reality, which is physical reality, and talking and actually speaking to other people and having these connections with other human beings. And then there's the timeline structure and how things in this universe bounce off of each other and vibrate, and spiritually everything's connected. It's all like a web, a spider web of everything, like the internet, but esoteric and a lot more complex. I'll probably delve into this a little bit more in the future, but I just kind of wanted to go over simulation talk just because it has some fear-based elements that people think about when they talk about it, but it really isn't fear-based. What it is like a message for you about where your spiritual growth is and where it's going to go. You can tap into those feelings, readings, messages, or you can just let them drift off and whatever. But this year, 2020, is the year of the planet alignment, so there's gonna be some lessons to learn to whether you think you want to learn them or not. Just a fair warning. Anyway, so that kind of goes along with the simulation talk. I'll probably delve into this a little bit in some other later videos, but I just wanted to give you guys a basic concept of what that means and learning from your experiences so you can tap into that energy and use that to your advantage and kind of, self-learn about the universe, which not necessarily something I highly recommend. You definitely want to get some insight from other people, not necessarily take everything that other people say, face value, but you just want to be able to make those spiritual connections because everyone's got a message to teach you. Regardless of you actually wanting to learn that message, it could be quite important to learn. So just keep that in mind. And tomorrow we'll talk about shadow work and how to tap in with universal messages and what some of them may mean. So you guys take that simulation talk and just kind of dwell on it. Go watch The Matrix and just tap into the spiritual messages and elements in that movie because there's some messages that you might have missed. Yeah. Anyway. Well, with that whole simulation talk out of the way, you guys do some research, think about what I said, and we'll talk about shadow work tomorrow. Peace.